want to talk about what seems to be a loss in both the masculine and especially the feminine perspective of the sacredness of our energy and the sacredness of our body. And so through this learning journey, it's so important for us to learn to correlate the body that we are in, the experiential body, our emotions, with energy. And when we start to understand that the blueprint, the template of what we are is so sacred on an energetic level, then we can start to see all aspects of self as extremely sacred. So why am I bringing this up? Why am I even talking about this? Well, especially in North America, but all over the world, there's been this transition into this hyperfixation of the body. If we look like, 100, 150 years ago, because there wasn't this same visual context or visual aspect to our lives, we tended to look outward, we could see the world around us, but we didn't have so much of a clear mirror as we do now through photographs, videos, social media. And this is all purposeful as well. Part of the journey of soul is to truly see the self, the three-dimensional self, and the return to the multi-dimensional self. Now, again, this hyperfixation on the body, on the external three-dimensional experience is really crucial and really important. So I don't want to label this negative or, what currently humanity is going through. I don't want, again, in any way to call it bad or evil or anything like that. It's experiential. Energy is learning about its dynamic nature and how to create balance. And so if we can look at the current state of most of the consciousness on planet Earth, it would tend to be a little bit unbalanced or quite a lot unbalanced, because again, that focus is away from the sacredness of the body to the three-dimensional functionality of the body, the way the body looks, the way the body interacts with other bodies. And it's a little bit, it's innocent in a sense, because until we understand the dynamic, all actions are essentially a reaction or a primal actionary state. And this is, again, what we are learning. So as you go along in your spiritual journey, you'll start to realize that as entertaining as the body is, there's a certain emptiness when you are completely focused, or when your consciousness is completely focused on that one dynamic of the body. So what starts to happen is, especially with human sexuality, human relationships, when things are very, very superficially based, the human being, whether it be masculine or feminine, eventually learns through the multiplicity, so going over the experience many times and yielding no real depth of return. The soul essentially starts to realize that it doesn't matter how many times it over-identifies with the body, that there is an innate imbalance there. And what happens consciously is we start to search for more depth. Our consciousness craves a more complete and balanced energy exchange. And so we start to acclimate, we start to ask the higher questions about who we are, what is this energy body, what does it mean to hold that sacred space, or we start to see the body as the temple, as this sacred space that holds that higher dimensionality, that's not even a word, but that higher dimension of self within it. And we start to loosen the grip with the external factors. And essentially, when we start to disassociate with the body form. And this usually correlates as well to aging, because we hit a certain point where we realize that essentially this body is temporal. And that's really when we start asking those deep questions about who we are. What is our purpose? Is there something beyond this lifetime, beyond the body? And we start to remember our own sacred, energetic nature. And it is extremely important, especially when we look at society and we look at the, gender roles. And of course, I mean, you can have male-male couples, female-female couples, however that relates to your situation. I'm not somebody that is, judgmental in any way about relationship dynamics. It's more of an energy exchange. So when we look at these interactions and we look at the energetic exchange, we start to pinpoint what is truly deep and authentic and what is highly superficial and leaves us feeling empty. And we start to hold a responsibility towards that other aspect of the mind, body, spirit that is interacting with the self, with ourself and other selves. And we drop into this consciousness where we understand that each and every exchange is either heightening our energy, so empowering us, giving us vital life force energy, or it is decreasing us on an energetic plane. And we also start to realize that the more superficial, the less that the interaction is based in divine energy or that sacred energy, the more depleting it is. Because again, it is, when we think of it and we start to really only, or when we are operating from only physicality, and it's only a body and no extra layers of depth, so no sharing of that energetic soul energy, no sharing of that emotional energy, that heart chakra energy, basically we're going to be imbalanced and we're going to be depleted from that interaction. So a more maybe layman way of explaining it is when we are interacting sexually, again, which is just an energy exchange with other beings, and it's only from a physical level. And again, there's no other energetic activations. It's unbalanced, and therefore it's going to throw our whole system off, and it's not in line with that exchange of divine energy. And as we realize this, we start to really value our energy, understand our energy body, and realize that energy exchange at all levels, but of course one of the most sacred energy exchange is that between a couple relationship or two bodies, and it becomes something that is highly prized to the self and isn't given away without the full spectrum of energetic matching with the other. And therefore, again, it tends to, as we evolve in our spiritual journey, it tends to be something that we aren't going to share with many individuals. And this is a good thing. This is highly in accordance with many of the esoteric teachings in terms of divine love, unconditional love, and sharing of the energy body. And it's also very healing for the emotional body, the mental aspects, because it is actually in balance with the way that things should be. But it takes time. And so the learning aspect of it, it's not a negative. It's not something to feel guilty about or beat yourself up about.